Hello 99 Army, boys and girls, and welcome back to another Storytime video. Today I'm going to be talking about the fights I witnessed in high school. Now, I'm going to be talking about this because of the big brawl that occurred last night on the Thursday night football game between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns, which it's the craziest fight, besides like wrestling and all that I've ever seen. I have never really seen someone rip someone else's helmet off and then swing it at them and then actually hit the person in the head with it. But because of that, I'm thinking, why not tell the story of I think it was 3 or 4 high school fights I kind of witnessed. I don't know. Well, in person anyway. I've seen video of plenty of high school fights. Mainly you'll see that stuff on Snapchat. And I see it secondhand on Snapchat sometimes, and I did when I was in high school. But without further ado, I'm just going to get into this story before I waste any more time. So, if you recall, in my first day of high school and my first full day of high school story, I talked about having a wellness class, first period, or first block for the first semester of my freshman year, which, in case you don't know, I would just sum it up in a nutshell as PE, but with work, out of textbooks and all that stuff. So I would always go into the auxiliary gym whenever we would go in there, and I would walk around with Braden and Zach, 2 people you might know from Mentally Unstable Entertainment. And one day when we were walking around the gym, walking around the outside, well, the outside of that little court. And by the way, the auxiliary gym, there's 2 gyms in the high school. There's a bigger gym where the basketball team plays, and then there's an auxiliary gym, which is smaller, where you can just basically practice and stuff. So that's the difference between an auxiliary gym and a normal sized gym. But when Braden, Zach, and I were walking around the auxiliary gym, when we had our back turned to some people, these 2 girls started to fight. And this is the fight that I remember the most and that I know the most details about. I never watched a fight with my own eyeballs, but I know about them. And this fight got intense. Now, I don't remember if it's between 2 girls in the same class that we were in. Well, there were 2 wellness classes, and Braden and I were in one and Zach was in the other. So I don't remember if these 2 girls were in the same classroom or if one was in one classroom and one was in the other. I think I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and say that I think, but this fight kind of got intense with hair pulling, and the coaches had to pry these two off each other, and then they had to be escorted out of the auxiliary gym, and I think they might have gotten suspended for a time, although I'm not 100% sure about that. And then there were a couple of other fights that I technically witnessed, technically didn't, but I remember one of them, which there were talks about fights. From what I heard, this is not just school-wide, but from what I've heard, a few times every semester. And I guess the reason for that is because some people that I went to high school with just think they're all bad and in with it and that they could beat anyone up that they want. But I remember this one time I was going to the bus ramp. Now, I rode the bus all through high school, and I was going to the bus ramp, so I was already going in that direction, but I see a whole bunch of other people going that direction. And I know you're going to say that, oh, well, a lot of other people ride the bus. Well, yeah, but people were kind of freaking out, and there were a lot more people than usual headed in that direction. So then I was like, oh, something's up. So I walked just outside the school building to where you get picked up by the buses. And there's this circle of people. And they always make a freaking circle so that, well, of course you always want to give them room, but I mean, I understand why people want to make a circle, but it's just annoying as an outsider of that circle because you can't exactly see what's going on. And I'm not the tallest person in the world. I think I'm like 5'5", 5.5", 5'6". I would say I'm more 5'6", but it's kind of hard to see what's going on when you're not like 6 feet tall. And I think at this point I was maybe like 5'4", so. But yeah, it took the assistant principal who's out there on bus duty a little bit to break it up and stop the skirmish. But then again, the assistant principal that was always out there is not a man, it's a female, so I'm going to give her some leeway. Because I can imagine anyone would have trouble with that. But, well, that happened a couple of times where there were fights out on the bus ramp. There was a very small little fight that got broken up just like that in a snap. And I was like right there. I was having a conversation with somebody waiting for the bus to pick me up. And these 2 or 3 other people were having a conversation right next to a group of friends I was waiting on the bus with, and they almost got into it. So I was almost at the front of a circle, quote unquote the front, even though there's no front of a circle. You mathematicians will be quick in the comments about that. But that got broken up very fast. Like, the assistant principal just so happened to look up at that moment. Well, not at that exact moment, but she was looking in that direction for a few seconds, and it got broken up. High school fights are kind of... I'm neutral about them. Now, they are pretty interesting, but on the other hand, you hate that there's a fight in the first place, but, a fight is like a wreck on the side of the road. You hate that it happens, but you just can't help but look, because it can be interesting. And if a car is wrecked on the side of the road, then that's not interesting, I know, but I guess it's similar to it, but yeah, think that'll do it for all the high school fight stories I have. I've never been in a fight in high school or anywhere, and I've never even had anyone swing on me in the first place. I don't even know the closest time or the closest call I've had to being in a fight, because there's just no good example whatsoever that I can think of where it was even remotely close. So, and I don't intend to, because I'd probably get beaten up. And so yes, guys, I do believe that will do it for this storytime video. And till next storytime video, I will see you all later. Goodbye, guys. Thank you all for watching.